Hello viewers, thank you for tuning into the 5 a.m. Networking Club. In today's video, we will be talking about BOQs and BOMs. What are the easiest and the best and error-free ways to create a BOQ or a BOM? So this is what today's topic is all about. Disclaimer time. I'm not representing any company. This is just my views and my experiences being put across as a video to you guys. Okay, so in today's agenda, we'll be talking about a project requirement. We'll just choose a ABC Corporation as a project, as a company who has a requirement. Their tender is out, so we'll look into his requirement first, and then we will be talking about the subject matter, which is what's the difference between a BOQ and a BOM? How BOQ and BOMs are being created? I'm sure 80% are still creating in the same way, and how they were being created. I know it's very tough when you get a requirement. You will have to, if you're, I'm sure you should be experienced, but also I'm sure we have a few newcomers into this networking world. So let's talk about all the ways of creating a BOQ. We will be looking into that in a deeper way. Then we will talk about what are the downsides of these legacy ways of creating the BOQs. Is there any software to help this out? And then we will be looking into the designing heat maps, and then a lot of steps when it comes to creating the BOQs and BOMs for the customer's requirements. So this is today's agenda. So let's start one by one. So let's open up a company's requirement, project requirement. Awesome. So we have a company who has given a project requirement. So when you open up a requirement, the first things first, you need to read the tender again and again so that you can understand the tender or the requirements very well. So that's very important part of it. You may miss a single word, and that will change the entire model of a switch. For example, the airflow from back to front or front to back, this is what people miss. It's just a simple line, but this will change the model of the switch itself. So read the BOQ well. So let's, read the requirement well so that we can create the right BOQ for the customer's requirement. And always remember, customers are right. Okay, so let's start with this. So the entire network should be 10G. It should the switches or the network devices should be provided with a UK power supply, which is just the power cable connecting to those devices to power up the devices. You don't need to provide support for edge switches, but you need to provide support, 3-year support contract for core and distribution. All switches or controllers or any device that's being recommended in the BOQ should come with an SFP. When it comes to the wireless network requirements, ceiling mount, that's ceiling. Okay, ceiling mount 802.11ax based access point, 50 devices. All the devices should be controller managed. Controller should have firewall capabilities. You have to provide support for 3 years. You have wall mount devices, 50 quantities, access points, and the wall mount devices should be capable to support IPTV or IP phone on their wired ports. So which means your wall mount access point should have wired ports in it to connect IPTV or IP phones. These access points will be distributed across 3 IDFs, IDF1, IDF2, IDF3, and each IDF should have so many switches, blah blah blah. Then comes the data center requirements, then comes the core switch requirements. So this is what we will be taking care of today. So we are going to build a BOQ or a BOM for this requirement. Okay, so this is what we are going to do. So what is a BOQ and what is a BOM? So bill of quantity and bill of material. What's the difference between that is a big question, right? So when it comes to a BOM, bill of material, you're gonna split things up. Consider you are cooking a recipe and you're just providing the ingredients required. That's a BOM. Like you have, this is just an example. So in our case, it's going to be 100 access points and 100 mounting kits. So you're just splitting things up, right? So like you're just going to provide how many switches are required for the wireless network, how many switches are required for the CCTV network, data. You're splitting things up. That's BOM. Like you consider you're talking about ingredients required for the project. That is BOM. When it comes to BOQ, you just put things together and provide the pricing or costing for those devices. That becomes the BOQ. BOQ is the overall required components to have the successful project executed. So that's BOQ. BOM is kind of the ingredients required. So when it comes to providing a BOQ or BOM in today's environment, the split is really required, right? So what are the switches going to data center? What are the switches going to that particular IDF? What are the switches or what are the components of wireless networking? So this split is very much looked into in today's environment when it comes to a BOQ or BOM. That will make you unique when you present your BOQs and BOMs with a beautiful split and all the components in place. People will look at you for sure. Okay, so legacy ways of creating a BOQ or BOM. When it comes to any device, okay, when it comes to any device, the requirements for choosing the device goes like this. First, you need to know the device, okay? I'm sure experienced guys will just choose the switch model just like that, okay? So you need this particular, you need a L3 switch, 24 port, okay, this is the model, go ahead with this. If not, you need 48 ports, so this is the model, go ahead. It's very easy when it comes to experienced guys choosing the switch model, but still we may be prone to errors. That's because the vendor has the freedom to change the specs, right? We have to agree on this. The vendor has the freedom to announce a device end of sale, which you may have missed. Like they announced it today morning and you're creating a BOQ by tomorrow, you may have missed this. So we need to know the model of the switch, of course. Look into specs of project. Compare the specs with switch datasheet. Then add the switch. But the game doesn't get over here. It's not just the switch, right? You have to add Sfps for the switch. If the customer needs support for the switch to be managed centrally, then you have to talk about subscriptions. And there are a lot of things that may go ahead with this when it comes to just adding a switch. So these components and these things are very important. So if I have to add a switch in legacy way, let's take an example of adding a 24 port switch, L3 switch. Like let's talk about Aruba 2930F data sheet. We have to go here, look into the data sheet. We have to check on what's the power budget, then we have to look into what are the models available, then what are the specs for all these models. So it's a big deal that we have to look into when it comes to just ordering a switch, right? So you have even an 8-port switch, so you have to check all these parameters to understand the switch, the power budget, how many SFPs do they support. So a lot of things needs to be compared. So this is the legacy way of creating this. So since you have to go inside each and every data or detail in order to understand the switch and then add it to the BOQ, that is something we have to look into, right? Because it takes a lot of time. It takes, now you may miss the updates like what we spoke about. There could be an end of sale announcement. And when you do this for a lot of switches for a very big BOQ, you may do some error. We are humans, of course, we are open to errors. So you may leave one or two errors. Then, of course, since you're doing this for a pretty long time, consider you have spent almost like 2 hours in preparing this particular BOQ, and think you have a liability of providing an extra option for this particular project. You would think twice even to give that option. That's because you have to go through the same process in order to give the additional option, right? For example, let's talk about this particular situation of Aruba. You have two sets of operating systems of the switches, like AOS S and AOS CX. So you took almost like 90 minutes in creating AOS S type of switches. Then you would think twice, okay, then I have to do the same activity of 90 minutes for another type of switches, which I'm not gonna do that. Maybe somebody would do that. So, you cannot play around with options. uh, Most of the vendors, they have different genres of switches, so it's not just an exception. So when you complete one BOQ or option one with one genre, you would need the same amount of time and same amount of effort for the second genre of the switches as well, so which would take a huge amount of time. Then comes the components, SFPs, and other components like mounting kits or DAC cables. So all these components, you may get a doubt if that SFP is compatible with that switch. Then again, you are going to Google it, like if this SFP model is compatible with that switch, this, that, and all these things. So there are so many downsides when it comes to um, creating a BOQ in the legacy way. Or you have ordering guides, right? So let's take 2930F ordering guide. So this ordering guide is going to help you out, saying, okay, again, it's there. Okay. Configuration information, ordering information. Awesome. So you have ordering guides which will provide you the way of ordering that particular switch, what type of switches you have, and all these things. So, but still, it's going to take some time for you to do this, right? So in that case, you need a software or tool which can help you out of this legacy way, right? It's not just creating a BOQs or BOMs. It needs to be logical, like the number of SFPs, the connectivity that you do when it comes to a huge BOQ. So all these things need to be error-free at the same time. It's need to be in a way that everything can be managed in less amount of time. So that is what we are going to see today. Today we are going to see about a tool called IRIS INTANGI. So this tool is really helpful when it comes to creating a BOQ or BOM, or designing a BOQ, or creating a heat map. Even when you load the project floor plan, you can create a heat map with this tool. And this software is really awesome. So how can you get this software? Normally this software is not accessible for everyone. Obviously there's going to be a cost impact when it comes to having this tool. But when you are a partner for the vendor's company, for example, any vendor we can talk about, so you will get access to this particular software through your vendor. So you have to send a request to your vendor company. This can be Extreme, this can be HPE, this can be Rockers. So you have to send a request, and after the request is approved, you would be getting access to this particular software for that particular device, for that particular vendor portfolio. Okay, so I have access to HPE portfolio or Aruba portfolio. So we will be looking into this particular set of devices, and we'll be creating this particular BOQ. So let's open the software. This software is amazing. This software just makes your job easy, error-free. Call it, you have it, it's there. The best part of using this particular software is, as soon as you open up this particular software, you would be asked, do you want to update the updates that has been provided by the company? So any new devices that has been announced, or any changes to the existing portfolio, which is being announced, like end of sale or any changes to the device. Even when it comes to changes in the specs, everything will be updated by this device automatically. So that's the best part of this. So you open the device, it's going to ask, okay buddy, there is an update, you want to do it, click yes, the update is being updated on your IRIS INTANGI software. So that's this good. So another best way is for the newcomers for this particular software, you have advisors. So if you want to, for the experienced candidates, you just go here, choose the model, they just add it, and there you go, they are done with the BOQ. But if you want to understand, if you want to compare the devices that could fit the specs, you have advisors. You can compare the devices, you can view the devices in different ways. Like you can even export the views for creating a network diagram. So there are much more than just creating a BOQ when you use this particular software. Okay, so let's again go back to the customer requirements. Let's see this. Okay, we'll just make it very quick. I don't want to make this video a very long one. If I get good comments, if at least, I'm not talking good, even bad is okay with me. If anyone wants further look into this particular software, I'm very much happy to do that. So just let me know in the comment section if you want me to do more of this particular kind of videos. Anyways, so wireless network. Let's take wireless network. So AX access points, ceiling based 50. So let's go to advisor. Okay, consider I'm a newcomer. Express mode. Okay, I'll give a no to express mode now. So what is normal mode and express mode? When you have a normal mode, you can provide the location of the site. See how good it is. So you can provide a site name, you can provide coordinates, latitude and longitude, and you will be able to see the site physically where it is located. You can have multiple sites. In the case, you can have multiple BOQs, multiple network diagrams, multiple heat maps. So it's all possible with this particular software. So now to make it quick, let's go to express mode. So you can now drag this. If you have provided latitude and longitude previously, then this particular pointer would have pointed the place where the latitude and longitude is. But since we haven't, the lazy guys, you can move it wherever you want to. So let us move here. Okay, so the site advisor. Let's talk about the BOQ. The requirement is for the access point, indoor, it needs to be controller managed, and it needs to be AX. So you can select all the AX devices. Okay, it's not going to, that's because none of the devices would support everything, right? So let's take this as an example. So we have a device which is AX, and that can provide up to 1.77 Gbps as throughput. So we'll select this device, and then you can compare these devices. Okay, if you have more than one model, you can compare. So now we have two choices. Okay, let's compare this. Compare. You have the device specs over here, right? So you have all these specifications for the devices. The only difference, the difference is highlighted. So the only difference, major difference, will be the antenna type, connectors, external dual band, and this is omnidirectional internal antennas. So okay, so you got the difference. So let's go back, and we will select this access point, and you can also just view the detail for this access point. You don't have to go back to Google, open a data sheet, no need to do that. You can just select this access point, and you will know that this is the access point. So you can just add the selected item and you are good to go. So this is how you use an advisor. So the other way of adding the device is you have, if you have got access to your particular vendor, so you can just open this and you will be able to select access points, indoor and 505. So you just double click here and this item is displayed over here, right? But on this panel you can just drag down and you will have the choices that we spoke earlier. So the flavors of this particular series is over here. So you can choose between 504 RWTAA, which is TAA compliant device, or non-TAA compliant device. So in our case it's going to be 505 RWS, rest of the world. You can choose the country you want. If you purchase a US based access point, it's not going to change the country code. So if you're in the rest of the world other than these countries you live in, you need to choose the rest of the world. Then you have to think about, it's not just the access point, right? So the BOQ should have all the components. In this case we have to consider the mounting kits, how we are going to power up the access point. If you want a power adapter, yes, you have it here. Just a click, you will get this added. Okay. In our case, it's a PoE plus switch. You can choose mounting kits. So we'll choose mounting kit A. You have other options also. If you want a console cable which doesn't come with the box, you can get it from here. You have other products, how we are going to manage the device, you can check it from here. You can check on to other services available. Attributes is where you multiply the quantity. So we have selected the access point, we have selected the mounting kit. Now we are going to select how many devices. So ceiling mount was 50, right? Okay, 50. So we will give the quantity as 50. Great. So changes the quantity to 50, which means you have selected 50 access points with 50 mounting kits. That's great. It's simple. In a click you have completed this. Okay, next requirement will be controller managed with high availability. So if it says with high availability, you need a redundant controller. So how many access points do we have in the site? It's 50 plus 50, so 100. You need a controller that can support 100 access points. Let's go back here. Let's select controllers. Mobility controllers and gateway. Minimize this so that you can see this. Controllers and gateway. Then comes campus or branch. Okay, so if it is 100, let's check how many access points will a branch take and a campus take. Or you can check on to advisors. Advisor, best way. Controller. So $100. And that's it. With teaming. So you got the models over here, right? So you will be able to also read the details from here. Like you have all the details from here as well. Like how many access points will each controller take? 16, 16, 32, 32, 64. So if it is 128, I have to go to 7205. So you can just get your choices from here as well. You can also compare. Like we'll compare this to compare. So you will get the details over here for the controllers, right? Great. Now Let's add the controller. So 7205, you will get the quickest data from just the right side, right? So if you choose 7210, it's going to say 4 SFP plus ports, 2 dual SFP ports, supports these many access points, these many clients. So all the details are over here, right? So 7030 as an example, so it's going to support almost like 64 devices and 4K clients, 32. Then comes the lesser and lesser values. Okay, so you have all the details needed for comparing the devices just on the click. Okay, we don't need this device. Okay, delete. Yes, let's go back here. Let's choose 7205. 7205 supports 256 access points, and it can support up to 8K clients. So that's the controller that we'll be taking. Okay, so it's rest of the world controller. It's asked if you need any pre-configured bundles where you will be getting the PIF license, RF Protect license, and you will get 1 year of CAD as well. We don't need it. Okay, we'll just do it manually. So 7205 is being selected. Since we need high availability, we will be choosing 2 controllers. Okay, so it's asking for licenses. Yep, we need licenses. So 100 devices, you can see here Aruba license AP controller. So choose the number of licenses as 100. Then if you see here, it says controller needs firewall capability. So in this case, you need PEF license, which is Policy Enforcement Firewall license. Every single line item has a huge description on what it needs, what's the purpose of that particular line item. So that's beautiful, right? So done. These same controllers can be used in SD-WAN mode, but we are not going to use it. SFP. So one of the rule for this tender is SFP needs to be included for all the products. So we will add the SFPs. And another rule to be noted, 10G. Okay. Okay. So in this case, we don't have a 10G. So let's go ahead with 1G. But you can use 10G if I'm not wrong. Let's go ahead with 1G. If you want, you can add a redundant SFP because you have 2 ports. When you're connecting to 2 core switches, you know, power options, you can choose UK because it's specified, UK power supply. Let's go ahead and select the UK. If you want, you can manage this on the cloud. No need. Let's go to related services. If you want, add the services here. No need. Okay, DAC cable, no need for controller as of now. It's not there in the requirement. Quantity 2 controllers. That's it. So done. Then comes support for 3 years. We'll be doing the later part. Then comes wall mount access point, 50 quantities. Let's go back here. Access points, desk or wall. Okay, so select this. Let's AX access point 503. Okay, or 505. Okay, the choice that you need to take here is depending on the ports that these access points have. So if you see the requirements, it says this way the access point needs to support IPTV or IP phone connection, right? So in this case, we will have to go with 505. Okay, because 505 has ports. If you want, we can compare this if I am not wrong. Let's check if these details are there. 503 503H and 505H. Okay, I think this needs to be updated. Let's reset and just check once more. Okay, I think this needs to be updated. Good thing we know this now. Okay, access point. (505H), you have it there. 505H, 503H. Yeah, okay, got it. Okay, compare. Okay, so the comparison says that you have two Ethernet port. If you see here in the name, the full name section, you have two Ethernet port, and this switch has four Ethernet ports and a USB, right? So this is the difference between 503 and 505. So based on this requirement, we need to go with 505. That's because you have four Ethernet ports so that you can connect IPTV or IP phone. That's great. We got it, right? So 505H, that's great. Mounting kits, just add one. Just add one, that's enough. If you want, add console cables. If you want, add subscriptions. Okay, I'm good to go. I have added mounting kit and I have added the device that I need. Now just the quantity. Done. So I have added 100 access points, 2 controllers, which is for this particular requirement, and I think we are good to go. Licenses for firewall is also done. That's great. So now let's add the 3-year support. So you have a plus sign over here, okay, which is for adding the support. When you create the BOQs with the legacy ways, you will have to run around finding the part numbers, right? So it's just jotted down here. You can just add the support for 3 years. Okay, 24/7 support is required for 3 years as well. So done. If you want, you can remove whatever the support is being added over here. It's up to you. It's up to you. Play around with this. Okay, so whatever the support is added, you can remove the support just by a click, and that's it. Done. Okay, added it. Okay, now the wireless part is completed. Okay, great. Now let's proceed with IDF1, IDF2 and IDF3 requirements. IDF1, 148 port switch. IDF2, 24 port switch. IDF3, 24 port switch. Okay, it's not 28, it's 24 port switch, one quantity. Great. So let's go back. Let's add one by one. You can add it together, like you can add two 24 port switches and one 48 port switch, like just like we did for the access points, but I'm not doing that for a reason. Okay, so now let's go back to advisor, switch selector. Switch should have 4 SFP plus and should have PoE plus capabilities, 740 watts for a 48 port switch. Then the same without 740 watts for 24 port switch. Great. So now we are just going to select the type of switch that we need. We need a fully managed switch. So it has, you will get so many switches. So it's now your way of looking things up. So you can choose between CX or OS. So there are two genres of these switches where you can choose between Aruba operating system or Aruba operating system CX type of switches. You have number of ports selectors or the features or power selectors. So the port count will be, let's first do with 48 port switch. So let's go ahead with 48 port switch. Now I haven't selected anything over here other than fully managed switch and what operating system that I will be presenting for this particular requirement. You can choose between the uplinks that is supported by the switch, the speed or media that's supported by the switch. We need PoE switches, so PoE plus switches, so you can choose between all these options that you have over here. So let us choose a switch like 2930F 48 port 740 watts. Okay, the requirement needs 740 watts, so you have it over here. So it's very simple. What I'm trying to say is this particular software makes things very simple. So you have it over here, 740 watts, PoE plus, 4SFP plus. Select this. You can view the detail or you can add the switch, right? So let's also check if we have a CX switch. Okay, ports will be 48 to 52. We have 740 watts, 4SFP plus, PoE class 4. Okay, which means this is the latest. Okay, so let's go here, CX 6200F class 4 4SFP plus 740 watt switch. Awesome, done, selected, right? Great, only one switch. Okay, so forget this, this is done. Next we'll go here, 24 port switch. So we will use the same genre because we used a CX. Let's proceed the rest with the CX as well. 2930F 24 port switch, one. Another switch is going to show you non-PoE models and PoE models. So we need PoE, right? PoE 2. Again, you can do this together. Like, I'll delete this. Delete. You can go here, just attributes, make it 2. It's simple. I'm not doing that just for a reason. I'll come to that reason shortly. So here you go. Now 24 port switch, 24 PoE 4SFP, and this is your power budget. So the maximum power budget is 370 watts. Power budget is what's the maximum power can the switch deliver for a PoE device connecting to its ports. Okay, so that's 370 watts. Added. Okay, added. 1 2 3, done. Very simple. Let's go down. Let's look into data center switches. L3 advanced with OSPF support. Requirement should support SFP 25. Should be 48 port switch. Needs stacking. DAC cable should be included. Fixed switch. Quantity 2. Okay, done. Okay, before we move to data center, we forgot to add the SFPs, right? SFP should be included for all the products, and no need support contract for edge switches. So this is an edge switch. We don't need to add support contract, but we need SFPs. Okay, when you want to select an SFP in your way, in the legacy way of doing this, you know, you will have to go look into SFP model, add the part number manually, right? It's a pain. It's very easy now. Go to SFP ports, add SFP. So 1 to the first core switch, 2 to the second core switch. Same way here, 1 to the first core switch, 2 to the second core switch. Okay, done, right? Okay, now we'll go to data center switches, advisors, switch selector, CX, because we added CX to the edge switches. Let's go ahead with CX. It's a beautiful switch. It's a very, very nice switch with all the recent capabilities. Okay, so Ultra Advanced OSPF support. Great, just a click, you got it. So Ultra Advanced with OSPF support, you got all these switches. But let's read further. It needs SFP 25. Okay, SFP 25, it's over here. SFP 25, if you see here, SFP 25 is over here. Okay, SFP 25 48 port switch needs stacking capabilities. Okay, SFP 25, it's 8325 switch, 48 ports with OSPF and L3 advanced capabilities. Oh, it's 8325. Do you have any other switch with SFP 25? Okay, so it's 8325. Great. So let's go here. 8325 is being added. Okay, let's give some distance, or let's put it across here. Great. Two switches, so 8325. So here you have all the details. 48 port switch, 48 SFP. SFP 28? No, it's SFP 25, right? My SFP 25, okay. So we'll select this switch. So just choose between the number of ports that you need. You have 32 and 48 as choices. So 48 port switch, and you will be able to see the difference between these two models. That's 624A and 625A is just the airflow. So this is one of the main things that you need to read in a tender. Like most of the customers will specify they need back to front airflow. So in this case you need to select this particular switch model. As of now we don't have that, so I will go with this. So you have dual power supplies in this bundle. So it's a bundle. So you have two power supplies, 6 fans, and you have 8 QSFP ports and 48 SFP 28, which supports 25 GBE ports. So that's it, done. Okay, so now let's choose the SFPs. Okay, so here it's going to ask in what speed you're going to operate the ports. So customer needs 48 SFP ports that supports 25 gigabit output. Okay, so we are choosing between the speed for the switches, the switch ports. Okay, now got it. So you choose here. So we'll choose 48, added, done. Great. So 2 switches, power options, done. You have this in the bundle. So quantity, select 2. Great, 2 switches added. Now it needs DAC cable, yes. Accessories, DAC cable. DAC cable. So you have options of having 40G or 100G or 25G DAC cable. So let's go with 25G. Very close switches, so 0.65 meter is enough. Added. Great. So we have added 2 switches that supports 25 gigabit throughput which supports SFP28 ports, 2 switches has been added. Okay, second requirement for data center non-PoE switches, 2 quantity L3 support, 4 SFP ports, 24 port switches. Okay, so non-PoE switches, let's choose OS X 6100 L3 switch, non-PoE switch, 24 port, which supports 4 SFP plus. So beautiful, done. 6400 24G non-PoE 4 SFP plus ports. Great. Add the SFPs, 10G SR, 10G SR, power cards, UK attributes. Go here and change the attributes to 2. 2 switches. Great. Accessories, you have a mounting kit for the switch. No need for mounting kit. That's great. Done. Okay, core switch needs to be a modular switch. Switch should have stacking capabilities, 124 port base T, 8 port SFP plus module, DAC cable. Great. So let's choose modular switch again. Let's go to advisors, switch, modular, OSCX. So it's going to be 6405 or 6410 or 8400. Let's choose 6405 modular switch. This is core. All right, great. So let's have the core switch here. Yeah, the core switch, let this be here. Okay, great. So we'll change it to 640. Okay, it's already 6405. Great. So what do you get in this bundle? You get 1 management module, 4 power supply slots, 1 chassis, and you get 2 fans. Great. So you have this already. So you can see this particular switch. Okay, great. Management slots, it's already there. If you want a redundant management slot, add here. When will you add a redundant management slot? In my experience, when your customer doesn't need a redundant core switch because of his budget constraints, then okay, that's okay. Go ahead with 1 core switch, but add a redundant management module. Great. Slots, you can add slots. So we need 124 base T module. Okay, so 24 base T module, got it. Awesome. Okay, 124 base T module added. If you see here, once I add the module, this gets changed automatically. Okay, SFP plus module. Okay, SFP plus 8 port, but we have 2 choices. Add 1 more 24 port module, and then you would get another 4 SFP ports. If not, you can add 1 SFP plus slot. Add 24 port SFP plus slot added. We don't have 8 port in this particular flavor, so we added 24. DAC cable to be included. Okay, let's go back to accessories, DAC cable. You have 10 will do. 1 DAC cable included. Let's make it 2 because we have 2 switches. Okay, keep it 1 and we'll multiply over here. Now just copy, just paste. Why am I doing this? It's for a reason. Okay, so 2 core switches are added. Great. Now let's go to the support. We'll remove support for all the edge switches. So you see here, not needed. This is an edge switch, not needed, buddy. Thank you. We don't need it. We don't need it. We don't need it. Yeah. 6405 is core, so let's hold on to the horses. Okay, great. controller, and then comes distribution switch, or you call it as a data center switch. Okay, let's keep it. Not needed for access point, not needed for access point. Great. So selected, done. Okay, so now you have an idea like this is your customer's requirement, and you have these particular devices selected, and okay, which one? 82, 83, 25. It shows 1 year, so let's just change it to 3 years. $83.25, 3 years. $64.05. 3 years. I'll just check if anything else. Okay. So we'll go through this one by one so that we can understand. Support is added. Okay. Great. Done. Added, right? So now this is the device that you have added for these requirements. It took almost like 20-30 minutes maybe. Okay, so devices are added. You just click on quotation. There is no price list. I haven't added any price list, so it's not going to give any data for the price. So we can select the price list from here if you want to. Okay, but I have not added any price list because I'm not supposed to. It's in the YouTube, so I'm not going to add any price list. So you will get the BOQ from here. You can just export it, export the list, and let's go to desktop, call it demo IRIS 01. See, simple. You got it. You got the list with part numbers, with description, and you have the number of devices, everything here. Even the modules are here, like 6405 switch. You have 2 switches. You have modules for these switches. 6400 24 port SFP base T module 2. So it's all there. So it's good, right? So 2 switches, it automatically multiplied the modules as well. It automatically multiplied the number of power cords required, 4 for each switch. So everything is there in this particular BOQ. That's automatically being generated. Just you input the devices that you need and the quantities, and you have it there. So that's cool, right? So I just have a doubt. Let's get this cleared. So 4 power supply slots. Okay, great. So let's end this particular session with this, because this session is going to be a huge session. It may take even an hour more, because further on we will be talking about designing heat maps, assigning design groups, pricing, exporting your design ideas, and we will be talking about IRIS INTANGI support as well. So we have this session stopping here. Okay, so this will be in my next session. I hope this video was useful. So it's just one click, guys. You just click on here or go to file, quotation. You will be able to see the quote. You will be able to see the devices, what's the part number, and the quantity of devices, and it's all here, including the support details for each and every device. It's there. So this is a great software. You can reach your vendor to get access to these to this software, and if you are a partner, of course they will be providing access. If I am not wrong, you will be provided access to this particular software where you can start building up your BOQs. And in the next session we will be talking about designing ideas. Like I have these devices, right? You can connect these devices, you can create links between these devices, you can change views of these particular devices, and that's going to be really helpful when it comes to creating a design for your project, because in a few projects they may ask a justification, why did you use this particular device? So you can provide justification by just opening the network diagram. So it's as simple as it is. Okay, thank you for watching this video, and please take some time to subscribe to the 5 a.m. networking. I call this 5 a.m. networking because I do these videos mostly at 5 a.m. that's the funny way of naming my YouTube channel. Anyways, great. Thank you for your time, and see you in the next part.